Okay. The Obliteration of Humanity is a probably a pretty interesting memory for a lot of people who were following extreme metal in the 2000s. I think that when when bands like Athea Aflame and the Obliteration of Humanity started becoming popular, a lot of great and over the top and provocateur groups came out of Czechia, and these guys they were ahead of the curve in terms of not only having a personality but a willingness to be avant-garde and over the top to the point that it was ridiculous. It really was the spirit of like mid 90s progressive death metal applied to psychotic grindcore. And uh, they really went places with it within a short period of time. I think by 2005, they'd had three or four records. And I was most impressed by God, I think it was the third one, where it was sort of their break to sort of get noticed. Uh, I don't know how to pronounce Pod Bladubite, but um, at the time, if you were around, you know that Cephalic Carnage was really popular. There were a lot of, grind was still in people's heads. People were still paying attention to grindcore back then. And Death Grind was just a big kick into the new millennium for a lot of people, along with Sludge and a million other things. But uh, these guys really stood out. Anyone ever talked about in reviews was how fucking wacky they were. And uh, basically, they were signed to sort of break on an earache subsidiary, and they got screwed. The parent label didn't pay for the art, yada yada yada. They dumped. They literally just dumped all of the CDs they printed on the label owner's doorstep and said "fuck off." So that's terrible, and that messed with the band for a long time. But they eventually came back, and their personality was well intact. These are prolific musicians. Otherwise, they um, have put out just countless things. They're also artists. The album art here is painted by one of the members, and always provocative, always very complex humor involved in everything they do, and all of it is very specific to a Czech sense of humor. And then even then, they're always subversive with it. So it's a wall of things you're just not going to understand attached to music, which is basically going to sound like a carnival to most people. Uh, and this is a lot to say to introduce 11 minutes worth of music, but in terms of a death grind EP that's progressive death metal at the same time, and just not like anything else, it's kind of worth going there. The best comparison I could make is, and I make this comparison a lot because it applies to a certain type of progressive music, is that if you look at the uh, frantic compositional style of Psy, which is not necessarily like the John Zorn abstraction that we get in a lot of modern progressive music, uh, it also kind of applies here. And so, yeah, again, it's 11 minutes of music. Really, I don't want to necessarily talk about it for longer than it would take to listen to it. But, you know, as you can see, the ideas and the way they're presented are provocative and interesting. And this is really going to be classic 2 or through the obliteration of humanity that longtime fans will quickly understand and appreciate. Uh, I'm still really partial to the pre 2005 stuff. I didn't really like that album that they got screwed over on, but if you liked Free Speech and let's see, um, if you like Contrastic's album, but you like them to stay in kind of the realm of metal overall, then you'll enjoy where Free Speech and Premiant is going. There's apparently another full length on the way, and that'll be in a similar style. So, jump in right here, and you'll know what to expect. Here you go.